The minority has not provided a copy of the material. For the record, in the past, she's displayed pornography. Is pornography allowed to be, are pornographic photos allowed to be displayed in this committee room, Mr. Chairman?
It's not pornography.
Okay, well, you're the expert.
Oh, you're the expert. Today, we're checking out this amazing footage. I only caught like a little bit of it, but there's some pretty funny footage of essentially Hunter Biden showing up to Capitol Hill while they were having a hearing, talking about putting Hunter Biden in contempt of court for not showing up to a hearing that they said they wanted to be private, but he wanted it to be public. And he just kind of shows up in the middle of it, and sparks start flying. And yeah, I don't want to give anything away. It's pretty funny. Here we go.
President Biden met, spoke by phone, dined, and had coffee with his family's foreign business associates. President Biden has repeatedly lied to the American people about speaking with his son's associates. We've also traced how money from the Biden's China deals and other influence peddling schemes landed in Joe Biden's personal bank account.
Personal.
We plan to question Hunter Biden
Lay off the sauce,
about
bro.
this record of evidence during our deposition, but he blatantly defied 2 lawful subpoenas.
Nah,
Hunter Biden's willful refusal to comply with the committee's subpoenas is a criminal act. It constitutes contempt of Congress and warrants referral to the appropriate United States Attorney's Office for prosecution as prescribed by the law. We will not provide Hunter Biden with special treatment because of his last name. All Americans must be treated equally.
He's not Southern at all.
And that includes the Bidens. Now, recognize Ranking Member Raskin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We believe that everyone subpoenaed by Congress, whether it's Hunter Biden or Jim Jordan or Andy Biggs or Steve Bannon or Scott Perry, should engage in good faith compliance with the committee's requests and the committee's subpoenas. We are here today because the chairman has bizarrely decided to obstruct his own investigation and is now seeking to hold Hunter Biden in contempt after he accepted the chairman's multiple public offers to come answer the committee's questions under oath before the American people. This is at the same time that
is this him showing up
by the categorical non.
I couldn't tell. Like I see so much movement going around.
He's really like, look at the cameras; they're moving. Like he's looking right at him. I think.
Yeah, something's going on.
Congress, like Mr. Jordan.
They're like, oh yeah, that's Hunter Biden right there. He's like, oh yeah, I saw him come in.
The violent...
A new challenger has appeared.
Right.
One moment. The cameras cannot be in the well. Cameras cannot be in the
well.
well.
It was.
Cameras cannot be in the well. Yeah. All right, proceed, Mr. Raskin.
Thank you. But I was just making the point that our colleagues who
the
are
mood changed.
Mr. Biden today,
the freaking whole energy
not
in the room
rendered 100% compliance, allegedly with a subpoena, are standing by Republican.
What is
colleagues.
up with that guy, man? He's having a bad day, dude. Like his eyes all bloodshot, and
he looks like he's sweating.
Right. I'm just saying, man. Whew. That dude has not slept in a week.
Rendered 0% compliance with their subpoenas.
Zero.
Including Mr. Jordan, Mr. Biggs, and Mr. Perry, when they have material information about the violent attack on the Capitol, the Congress, and the Vice President of the United States on January 6, 2021. In any event, for the last 11 months, the chairman has repeatedly refused offers from Hunter Biden and his attorney to meet with the chairman and his staff and with members of this committee. On February 9th, just one day after the chairman's first letter to Hunter Biden, Mr. Biden's lawyer responded and offered Chairman Comer to, quote, sit with you and your staff, including the ranking member and his staff, to see whether Mr. Biden has information that may inform some legitimate legislative purpose and be helpful to the committee. The chairman never responded. On September 13th, Mr. Biden's lawyer again wrote to Chairman Comer after a Newsmax interview in which the chairman falsely claimed that he never got a response back to his original letter. Mr. Biden's attorney explained the chairman actually never responded to his offer to sit down and discuss the committee's request, but stated that he remained available to have the discussion, but the chairman again completely failed to respond. 2 months later, on November 8th, Chairman Comer and Jordan issued subpoenas to Mr. Biden requiring his
He's putting
appearance
the
for a
microphone
deposition
down.
on
You see
December
that?
13th. In the cover letter, the chairman noted,
He's like, I ain't
"Given
going to do
your
a Chris
client's
Christie."
willingness to address this investigation publicly up to this point, we would expect him to testify before Congress. Throughout the fall, the chairman urged Mr. Biden to come appear at a public committee
Why are they
hearing on
holding
September
that up
13th.
over and over
On
again?
Newsmax, the chairman stated,
I know, like,
Hunter
what's
Biden
that
is more than
supposed to
welcome
do?
to come in front of the committee. If he wants to clear his good name, if he wants to come and say, you know, there weren't 20 show companies, he's invited today. We'll drop everything. On October 31, on a nationwide podcast, the chairman stated, we have mountains of evidence. Now we're ready to bring them in. We're in the downhill phase now because we have so many documents and we can bring these people in for depositions or committee hearings, whichever they choose. For depositions or committee hearings, whichever they choose, and we can ask these questions with evidence. On November 6th, again on Newsmax, our good chairman stated, I will extend that invitation on your show right now, Rob. If the Biden family wants to join Tony Bobulinski in an official oversight committee hearing and answer questions that the American people have, then that invitation's open right now. They can come on in and do that. On November 28th, Hunter Biden, through his lawyer, agreed to Chairman Comer's multiple public requests. He agreed to appear precisely at a public hearing under oath to answer the committee's questions on December 13th. Exactly what our good colleagues, the Republicans who had information about January 6th, never agreed to do. They never agreed to testify anywhere under oath about what they knew. The letter that came in from Mr. Biden embraced the importance of having a public proceeding that, quote, would prevent selective leaks, manipulated transcripts, doctored exhibits, or one-sided press statements, especially in light of the committee's past use of closed-door sessions to manipulate, even distort the facts,
Mr. Chairman,
and misinform the
Chairman,
public.
I have an inquiry.
Oh,
State your point.
Mr. Chairman, don't we have House rules and committee rules regarding subpoenas and then rules about having hearings and having questions with witnesses
We
that
do.
must be followed?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to reclaim my
Could you
time.
state the rules, Mr. Chairman?
Hold on.
We
one
could
second.
just interrupt each
Mr.
other with an
Rasmussen,
inquiry.
Your time was expired.
I'd like to know the rules of the House and our committee.
Read them.
They're available
Read
to every
'em.
member.
Read them.
The rules state
Read them.
for a deposition, if that's what you're asking, 3 days notice.
Tell 'em,
you have to have a
Marjorie, you tell 'em.
stenographer and all of that. So that's.
Mr.
So
Chairman,
just to clarify,
All
we
right,
can't have
Mr.
someone
Mr.
just
Raskin's
walk
time's
in.
expired.
Mr. Chairman, point of
Do any
inquiry.
other members wish to be heard?
Mr. Chairman, point of inquiry.
Mr. Chairman, I did endure multiple interruptions in my opening. Could I finish? Would that be all
Well,
right?
you went over your 5 minutes, but I'll give you 30 more seconds.
Okay.
You
The
went over
chairman
your
refused
5,
to
but I'll
take
give you
yes
30
for an
more.
answer from Hunter Biden. Instead, on December 1, they pulled a bait and switch. They changed the terms of their request. They rejected his offer or his acceptance of their offer and insisted that he now come in and sit for a secret closed-door deposition. On December 6th, Hunter Biden's lawyer reiterated that Hunter Biden was willing to accept the chair's original request and once again offered to appear on December 13th or any other date in December to
Which was
answer
that, yesterday?
any question pertinent and relevant to the subject matter.
Oh, that's his
He
10th.
again raised
Okay, yeah, on the
concerns
10th.
about closed-door
Yeah,
sessions.
that'd
That's what
be,
brings us
4
to
days
today,
ago.
Mr. Chairman.
Or
He
5 days ago,
has
excuse me.
materially, substantially, in good faith, complied with what your requests were.
He complied with the subpoena. I don't think
We
your
would have
time's expired.
We
Do
would have
any-
loved that.
Do
kind
any
of
other
compliance.
members wish to be heard?
Your time's
Chair
expired.
recognizes Ms. Mace from South Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
There we go.
Chairman Comer. First of all, my first question is who bribed Hunter Biden to be here today? That's my first question. Second question,
Who bribed him, dude?
Whoa. Okay.
Oh man,
Straight for the
she's
jugular.
about to go all girl boss here.
the epitome of white privilege, coming into the Oversight Committee, spitting in our face, ignoring a congressional subpoena to be deposed. What are you afraid of? You have no balls.
It's just all like, whoa, what are you afraid of? Why did you come here in person? As though that didn't take some level of courage to show up in person. That's hilarious. They're just laughing at her.
Mr. Chairman,
They
point
are.
of inquiry.
Like,
Mr.
what?
Chairman,
If
The ladies recognize.
I'm not-
if the gentle lady
Nice
wants to hear from Hunter
stupid
Biden, we can hear from him right now, Mr.
And
Chairman.
you
Let's
win
take a
stupid
vote.
fights.
Yeah, there you go. Like, let's
Yeah,
hear it,
well,
dude.
let him
Let's hear
speak
it.
since he's here.
Throw it down, dude. Let's just listen.
Hear from
I'm
Hunter Biden.
speaking.
What are you
women
afraid
allowed
of?
to speak?
Hold on. Order.
Oh.
Order.
Are women allowed to
allowed-
speak? Are women allowed to speak?
Speak in here or no? Are women
Oh.
allowed to speak in here or no?
Order.
Because you keep interrupting me.
I'll
He's
interrupt
like, you got
Keep
me.
I don't know that he's a lady.
What?
I think that that Hunter Biden should be arrested right here, right now, and go straight to jail.
You should be arrested for wearing that much bronze on your face, lady. All right, that's a lot, dude. I know there's cameras there, and I get it, but dang, dude.
Our nation is founded on the rule of
Come
law.
on, come on.
And the premise
Come on.
of the law
Come on.
applies equally to everyone, no matter what your
Come on.
background.
Point of order, Mr.
Get
Chairman.
out of
It
here.
doesn't matter who you are.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Biggs over here.
Donald Trump Jr.
Biggs over here.
State your point.
The
Mr.
guy in the
My
front
point
is
of
like,
order
what
is
the
this.
He's
fuck
all
is
like, what is-
happening
Are
right
we going to continue on with this
Come on.
blatant interruption? This is absurd and inappropriate.
Finally, dude.
I intend to give my statement. I don't intend to have anybody interrupted. I'm not going to interrupt your statements. I think you should have decorum and courtesy and don't act like a bunch of nimrods.
You just interrupted.
And that's five.
I got.
He
I
wanted
got
to say
permission.
something
I got-
else.
Everyone has
Mr.
5
You can
minutes.
see it.
Right.
You
Can we agree?
Point of order again.
Right?
The assertion that I interrupted was absolutely false. That's typical of the gentleman who spoke.
I keep
got
flashing blue
permission
on the
to speak
screen.
from the chairman.
I don't know
I
what's
Yeah, I
doing
noticed
spoke.
that myself.
I was interrupted yet again by the gentleman who doesn't choose to go through the chair and follow proper order. I encourage us. I think if we're going to have any respect at all, we need to have proper decorum.
Well
Yield
well
back.
said. Well said.
Whale
I'd
saying.
like to finish.
The rules are
Well said.
everyone's going to be recognized for 5 minutes. Anyone that wants to be recognized will be recognized for 5 minutes. Ms. Mace has 4 minutes and 13 seconds left. Chair recognizes Ms. Mace.
It does not matter who you are, where you come from, or who your father is, or your last name. Yes, I'm looking at you, Hunter Biden, as I'm speaking to you. You are not above the law at all. The facts in this case are crystal clear. This committee used and issued a lawful subpoena to Hunter Biden, a critical witness in this committee's investigation into Biden family corruption. Hunter Biden and his lawyers did not
Corruption.
claim privilege of any kind because clearly he has none. They didn't contest the legitimacy of our reasons for issuing this subpoena, no reasons, because they clearly are legitimate. And yet, he refused to comply.
Yeah, there's something
Trump's
weird going
family
on with the
members,
feed
Don
that's
Trump
not
Jr.,
on my end.
He did not defy a congressional subpoena. He showed up multiple times for multiple depositions for several hours. In doing so, Hunter Biden broke the law. He did so deliberately. You did so flagrantly. You showed up on the Hill, on the Senate side, the day of that congressional subpoena to defy it and spit in the face of this committee. That's what you did.
I mean,
The question the American
Yeah.
people are asking us is, what is Hunter Biden so
because it's just a freaking joke. They literally have nothing. And I'm just saying, I'm not even rooting for either side. I think this is a pretty big distraction from, just things. That's the only reason it's even there is just to distract people. And the scary thing about it, in my opinion, is a lot of the more radical of the right wing that are really trying to push this thing with the Hunter Biden thing, which, once again, I literally do not care, other than, hey, if the guy did something wrong, Yeah, but to me, anything to do with Hunter Biden is a complete waste of time for any representative to be looking into. And
Yeah,
I would have said
yeah,
the same
he's
thing for
go ahead.
the Trump kids, except the Trump kids were actually in political positions and could therefore be investigated in a political context. But for this guy,
Yeah,
it's just not the case.
yeah, exactly. Hunter Biden does not hold any congressional or any form of legislative or executive or judicial power in anything in the White House. He's just simply a guy that literally is just the son of the running of the current president. I mean, yeah, yeah, I mean, I thought that's myself. I mean, sure. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying that, oh, this guy's a goody two shoes. That's not what we're saying at all. It's just that, like, what is the point? Because I mean, if he was like if he was holding like a higher office chair position and within Congress or whatever federal branch of the government, yeah, that's one thing. But as far as I'm aware, and from what I can understand, he doesn't hold any position within Congress or any form of federal power.
Right.
So what relevance and let's say that they did prove that he did whatever they're accusing him of. What's that going to bring them?
Well, they're
You're
trying
just
to
putting
say that it was deals using his father's power specifically as president. So he was like in order like the reason they're going for Hunter is in order to get to Joe is kind of the thing they're alluding to, but here's the thing is like I just genuinely don't think that they have anything. I'm not saying that there was a lot of things that out of the accusations towards Trump when they had the Russian involvement trial or whatever. They found quite a bit of other things. Like Mueller found all kinds of crazy things, but because they didn't specifically pertain to the investigation into Russia, it was just kind of like, well, this is on the record, but we essentially can't do anything to them about it in the
right.
context of this investigation, which is what now has caused all of these other things to come about and all of these different legal troubles that he's currently having. So I think they're genuinely just trying to distract. Like it's kind of like a playing that card of we have essentially a limited amount of things that we can get people riled up on. And if
Mhm.
we have to keep coming up with new things and new things, eventually you're going to run out. So it's just a stalling game for these people. Like they want there to be an ineffective government as long as possible because when it comes down to it, they will continue to have a stronger and stronger argument of we can't even get none of this stuff done if you keep electing, this, tribe of president, which in this case is a Democrat. We can't get nothing done, and why don't you come let us change it up for you. And people go over and will keep voting on these things, and I encourage people, yeah, I mean, sure, still probably vote, but it really is a facade. Like they're probably both really mostly on the same side there, and it's kind of a good cop bad cop type of situation where it's going to be agreed to long before anybody starts debating it what the stance is of the people who are running the country, which is the companies and the millionaires and billionaires. They're the ones that
and
decide all
and
this stuff.
yeah, and also people who literally are just not fit to run this country, period, because they're
Right.
so freaking old.
Well, it's not even that. It's just they're not operating in many cases. I'm sure there's some people in there that genuinely want to try to do something, but it's like cutting the head off of a hydra. It's like
Hmm.
everybody within this system wants to their pound of flesh, if so to speak, and to try to convince somebody to do things for the right reasons rather than try to go for their pound of flesh. It's like talking to a brick wall. Like nobody can see past those ideals, especially once you get into the mega class up there with, Capitol Hill, etc. So I just wanted to do a quick take of, yeah, this is interesting and funny in my opinion, but ultimately,
but literally, there's nothing like. So let's say that they do manage to have Hunter Biden arrested and imprisoned. That's literally not going to change anything.
right. It might give precedent to potentially go after Joe Biden after his presidency, but I'm just saying, like, once again, in my opinion, that would just be a distraction. I mean, there's numerous more valid reasons to go after a Joe Biden or an Obama or a Trump or a George Bush or a Reagan, etc., over like some deals alluding to corruption within the Biden family, quote unquote. There are way more things that we could be criticizing them on, like numerous war crimes, for example, numerous crimes against humanity, toppling foreign governments, you know, things like that. But no, we're focused on some quote unquote shady back deals and Joe Biden's son's gigantic penis, essentially, which we're about to see. No, I'm just kidding. It's blacked out, but
But at the same time, yeah, like the Republican Party hasn't done any shady deals themselves. Like I like how they try to act like, oh yeah, we're not corrupt, we don't do anything like that.
dude,
Yeah, the fuck you don't.
the whole thing is just a complete joke. That, like, for example, they go after like a Bernie or an AOC for talking about things that to them seem quote unquote socialist, and then they bring up Venezuela, right? It's like, huh?
Yeah,
Hey
the
there,
favorite
bro.
argument.
Hey there, bro. I wonder why Venezuela is having so much issue. Hey there, bro. Hey, I wonder if we did a bunch of stuff over there to try to topple their government. Like, you're literally using a convenient example that you created. You literally created that example, and you're going to go then criticize it when it never had the chance to go over and do anything on its own without you meddling in there and destroying it. So I'm just like really doing this for the laughs, because this is how much of a joke that our political system currently is literally, we're about to see. I'm not going to give it away, but you'll see it, and then you'll be like, that's what he was talking about. This whole thing is a facade and it's a joke. And I like just want to take the opportunity to look at the circus. Let's look at the circus.
Afraid of. Why can't you show up for a congressional deposition? You're here for a political stunt. This is just a PR stunt to you. This is just a game that you are playing with the American people. You're playing with the truth.
No.
Hunter Biden wasn't afraid to sell access to Joe Biden to the highest bidder when he was in elected office. He wasn't afraid to trade on the Biden brand, peddle influence, and share those ill-gotten gains with members of his family, including Joe Biden. He wasn't afraid to compromise the integrity of the.
That's what I want to know, and this might be just common knowledge for other people, but let's see. Hunter Biden. Whoops, not Bidney. There we go. Hunter Biden. Here we go. Let's see. What's it gonna say on here? He's an American attorney and businessman. He looks like he's a little heavier in that picture. Interesting. Or maybe it's just a bad shot. Anyway.
Yeah, so American attorney and businessman. So where does it show that he is in any form of political or federal power?
Probably venture capital, right? Because he could just be like investing in things that he has, say, background knowledge of through his. But I don't know, like that because you figure some startups are literally off of declassified military tech that they're trying to bring to the consumer market, and so that just in and of itself, I'm not saying that's what happened, but that's where they could probably say something to do with venture capital, Not sure on investment, hedge funds and all that, but definitely in venture capital. Anyway,
Oh, the
I was
laptop files. Oh my God. I don't know how many times. I don't know how many times I've heard every right winger or every Facebook like thing I've seen on my reels thanks to the stupid algorithm that somehow is like spam is like just totally like just spam fucking my feed with
right.
like obvious right wing crap about Hunter's laptop, Hunter's laptop,
Oh
Hunter's
my
laptop.
gosh,
Like I was like, dude,
the
okay.
laptop.
Like, okay, are we not going to discuss that all the classified files that Trump had in his freaking bathroom?
Yeah. I mean, it's not even a one side or the other. It's just a, hey, did they find anything in that? No. Okay, I don't care. Like, that's it. They found nothing. It just said 129,000 emails, and there was no evidence of the chain of custody or authenticity of the device. So therefore, I don't care what's in there. I don't know that was even his freaking laptop. I mean, and beyond that, it's just wild to me that we're even talking about him. If there's not a smoking gun of like, hey, he definitely has an email where him and his dad, an email chain where him and his dad were like responding to things on some sort of a backdoor deal, and it could be traced back with authentication or something like that. Unless there's something like that, I just don't care. It's like going over and calling the pot, the pot calling the kettle black, as though all of these, investment guys and, capital owners, et cetera, don't just steal and steal and steal all the time, our tax dollars, our wages, etc. But we're going to be super concerned about this one guy who is doing the same thing that all of these other crooked mofos are doing. I don't care.
Exactly.
Presidency and vice presidency by involving Joe Biden in shady business deals with our foreign adversaries. But Hunter Biden, you were too afraid to show up
Oh,
for
no.
a deposition. And you still can't today. I believe that Hunter Biden should be held completely in contempt. I think he should be hauled off to jail right now, because it wasn't long ago, too, my friends
Lock
on the
him
other
up.
side of the aisle,
Lock
that
him
you also
up.
believed
Lock
in
him
the
up.
power of a congressional subpoena. Not long ago at all. You believed in holding those who refuse to comply with congressional subpoena accountable. And I stood with each and every one of you. I am the only member in this room today who has held a member of my own party in contempt of Congress for not showing up for a subpoena. And I see nothing but complete hypocrisy on the other side of the aisle.
Oh, no.
The ranking member of this
You would know what
room
that's
even
like,
so
wouldn't you,
eloquently
know?
put it. The lesson is, please tell your children out there in America, if you get a subpoena to go before Congress, go. You have a legal responsibility to do so.
Legal.
So the hypocrisy is stunning. What are we to tell our children today? There's nothing the other side can say with a straight
Definitely don't
face.
tell them about
As the
Hunter's
only member of
gigantic
this committee to
pee-pee,
vote to
because
hold
then
a
you'd be a
member of
weirdo.
contempt of my own party, let me be clear. This should not be a partisan issue. If Congress issues a subpoena, you show up, period.
Do it.
This is not a responsibility we take lightly. It brings no joy for us to do this, but the president's son broke the law and must be held accountable in the same way anybody else would. I urge my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to do
he's
so.
there.
And my
Just
last
ask
message
him.
to you, Hunter Biden, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Oh,
Will the gentlelady yield to
Oh
the
my
question?
God.
Will the gentlelady yield? Will my friend yield from South Carolina?
Oh,
You play stupid game, you get stupid prizes. Really?
it's like you better go lick that white dog shit over there, you son of a bitch. Like in Step Brothers. Oh man.
I do want to commend the gentlelady who was the only Republican who stood up and voted to hold in contempt the Republican members of the House who blatantly and categorically refused to comply with subpoenas that came from the bipartisan January 6th committee. I would like to ask my friend, Ms. Mace from South Carolina, whether she's aware of all the case law which says that the committee has to engage in good faith interaction with the witnesses they've called, and they're supposed to arrive at a solution. And what do you think about the fact that the chairman on multiple occasions gave this witness the opportunity to come before the full committee, and he agreed to that?
We issued a congressional subpoena, and I know with your constitutional law background, you know exactly what that means, and he should have showed up. And because of your vote and because of your statements, you should be voting to hold this man in contempt of Congress today, right now, if you're going to be consistent on your own policies and your own words.
Gentlelady's time's expired. Chair recognizes Mr. Moskowitz.
So she essentially just didn't answer the question and then just said, nah, you, essentially.
For 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
No, you.
Good to see you after
No,
a
you.
long break. So I'm listening to the gentlelady from South Carolina about
Wow. That's a lot of bracelets, dude.
witness
He's rocking
being
it.
afraid to come in front of the committee. It's interesting. He's here. He doesn't seem to be too afraid. In fact, for some reason, the chairman, who on multiple occasions invited the witness to come on TV.
Got him.
Apparently, the chairman wants to pretend like his statements on television or in interviews don't matter. But it didn't happen once. It didn't happen twice. It happened multiple times. The chairman said the witness can choose whether to come to a deposition or to a public hearing in front of the committee. The witness accepted the chairman's invitation. It just so happens the witness is here. If the committee wants to hear from the witness and the chairman gave the witness that option, then the only folks that are afraid to hear from the witness with the American people watching are my friends on the other side of the aisle. I don't know if there's a proper motion, Mr. Chairman, but I'll make a motion. Let's vote. Let's take a vote. Who wants to hear from Hunter right now, today? Anyone? Come on. Who wants to hear from Hunter?
Motion's out of order. Yeah.
No one. So I'm a visual learner, and the visual is clear. Nobody over there wants to hear from the witness. Oh, there's one. Thank you.
Will you yield for a question?
I'm not there yet, but I will eventually. So there's no one, well, other than one or two, that want to hear from the witness. So the majority of my colleagues over there, including the chairman, don't want to hear from the witness with the American people watching. So, Mr. Chairman, I just want to hear from you. Will you acknowledge that you invited the witness on television to choose whether he could come to a public hearing? And do you stand by your words, or do you renege that invitation to the witness?
To answer the question, I've said repeatedly, after the deposition, Mr. Biden can come in front of a public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I don't want to play the video, but that is not what you said on television multiple times. We have the quotes. We can put them up. You said the witness can choose between a deposition
Listen,
or...
Mr. Moskowitz.
Listen here.
Mr. Biden doesn't make the rules.
Listen,
We
bitch.
No, Mr. Chairman, you make the rules. And the rule you made is that he can choose.
the rule is
Those were your words. Reclaiming my
he
time.
was issued 2 lawful subpoenas.
Reclaiming my time, Mr. Chairman. No, you issued those subpoenas after he took you up on your invitation to come, and then you were like, oh, no, oh, my God, what did I do? I invited him to come so the American people can hear his side of the story. I put my foot in my mouth, so now I must bury him in the basement where we can decide what we're going to release to the public so that we can continue to tell that story. Mr. Chairman, you have said multiple times that this is not about Hunter. It's about Joe Biden.
Right.
And even this morning on Mornings with Maria, she asked another simple question, the question you have been asked multiple times, which is,
Just
do you
told it in the
have
background.
evidence to impeach the President of the United States? Before, you said, I hope so. Today, you said, I think so. And the answer is, you don't. And you still don't. And so we continue to be here and have these charades. To my
Right.
colleagues who talk about lawful subpoenas, I appreciate the gentlelady from South Carolina who voted to hold people in contempt. Listen, I'll make this bipartisan. I'll vote for the Hunter contempt today. You can get my vote. You can get my vote. But I want you to show the American people that you're serious. Here is the subpoena to Representative Scott Perry, who did not comply. I'd like to enter this into the record. Here is the subpoena to Mark Meadows. I'd like to enter this into the record, who did not comply. Here is the subpoena to Jim Jordan,
Dang, dude.
who did not comply with a lawful subpoena. I'd like to enter that into the record. Here is the subpoena to Mo Brooks, who did not comply. I'd like to enter that into the record. Here is the subpoena to Mr. Biggs, who did not comply. I'd like to enter that into the record. And here's the subpoena to Mr. McCarthy, who did not comply. I'd like to enter that into the record. There's an amendment coming to add some of those names into the contempt order. You vote to add those names and show the American people that we apply the law equally, not just when it's Democrats, right? It's a crime when it's Democrats, but when it's Trump and the Republicans, it's just fine. No, show that you're serious and that everyone is not above the law. Vote for that amendment, and I'll vote for the Hunter Biden contempt. I yield back.
Gentlemen, time's expired. Chair recognizes.
So that right in and I'm just saying the thing that I would specifically
Damn,
focus
he
on,
went off.
that's the thing that I would specifically focus on with that is that there's a lot of I guess narrative that people are trying to say is that there's not an equal standard of justice on both sides of the aisle. And
Yeah, there's not. There's clearly not. It's been shown time and time and time again.
And well, here's the thing too, is like there is an incentive to keep on doing this ad infinitum. Like they could just keep on doing, well, this guy broke the rules and this person broke the rules, and then they have these committees and it's a televised thing. And I'm just saying we are causing now our own problem where we're just going to keep on doing this. Now this is the story. Like 2 or 3, 4 years ago, it was Trump was the story, or in before that, it was a whole nother thing. And we are perpetuating, essentially giving them content to continue feeding us ad infinitum instead of just really focusing on the problems that we are seeing as a labor class, which is the fact that we literally get paid like dog shit. We got inflation out the wazoo. We've got, a housing crisis. We are continuing to see crazier weather as days get on, and we're not, from what I can tell, doing enough, in my opinion, towards trying to, cut down on that issue, which there's tons and tons of issue, or I guess information out there on that. We're not talking about yet another wave of COVID coming through. Almost nobody's talking about that because they know it's such a hot point with tons and tons of voters that for them to talk about like vaccinations or, COVID and another uptick of COVID, it would just be like a political nightmare. They think, especially Biden being a centrist, he's thinking, well, I really want to be able to pull some of those kind of like middle right wingers to the center and maybe vote for me because they really don't like Donald Trump. Better not say nothing about, anything that's going on as far as a public safety measure. So I'm just saying, I think that the guy was given a good deposition there, and that's nice. But it's just like, guys, ultimately, all of this 6-7 hours of deliberation and, peacocking is just a fucking waste of our tax dollars. Why are we even caring about this? Have somebody other than them do that. Like, literally, let's just make a whole other... If they're just going to do that, let's keep on bloating it. If you want to keep up in making these ridiculous accusations and putting people on trial, all right, we just got to go elect new people who are separate from that whole system to just constantly 24/7. That's all they do. They're just going to be bad boy watch. They're just going to be a watchdog on every single one of these motherfuckers, just bird dogging them like a mofo. And they're not going to be able to fart without somebody knowing about it. And then we can get on with our lives, because it's like, really, at some point or another, we need to get some other stuff done. And you just keep bringing stupid crap like this up. And then I'm literally having people that I'm supposed to see on a regular basis who believe in some of the most absurd and idiotic shit. And it's not anything against them, okay? Like, I can understand that a lot of people held a lot of these people in high regard because they're supposed to be like the leaders, right?
They're supposed
But
to represent us
right,
as as citizens of our country, and I know exactly what you're saying. I absolutely agree, and that's the reason why that a lot of other countries are probably like, what the hell is going on over in the West right now? Like, are they
right.
okay over there?
Well, I mean, a lot of countries, let's be honest, are probably like, yeah, woo. They're like cheering it on because maybe we, specifically me and you, didn't do it. Our ancestors have been just like literally toppling over governments, putting their hands where they shouldn't be, just essentially playing world police for, literally like 4 generations now, 5 generations. We've been doing that over and
Yeah,
over again and just literally just American flag pooping on everything all over the place, most of which were not great. About the one of the good things that we did do is obviously the World War II, as far as like the German front. The Nagasaki and that,
Hiroshima.
yeah, that
Yeah,
not so great. But
that was very excessive. I mean, granted, the imperialist, the Japanese imperial military did bomb Pearl Harbor. Yeah, that while that they did do that, but we literally nuked 2 entire cities and were responsible for
right,
like what, hundreds of thousands of deaths.
right, for each one of those, I think. But the point is that it's not surprising, and I know we're kind of getting off topic here slightly. Let's try to I'll try to turn the boat after this statement here. But it's not surprising to me that many Americans, even to this day, right now in this Israel-Palestine conflict, don't care about the civilian casualty conversation that a lot of people are starting to bring up. They're like in their and this is just really what it comes down to. They're like, who gives a crap about the Pakistanis? They went over and did the October 7th thing, which is my birthday, by the way. That sucks. But anyway, like they did the October 7th thing, so we're gonna now just say, well, they have a free pass to just start killing a bunch of civilians because they did that. We did the same freaking thing. We did
Yeah,
the same
we're
thing, but
yeah,
well, maybe
we've
it's a
done
little
that
different.
multiple times. Yeah,
Maybe it's a little
we're
different because it was a military target in Pearl Harbor, and then so it was actually kind of a bit worse in our case with the 2 nuclear bombs, because then we targeted civilians, afterwards, after they attacked a military target. So that's pretty messed up. But either way, it's adjacent. It's about the same friggin' thing, and we've been doing it, like you said, over and over again throughout history, just totally shitting on people. Just make sure that we're never going to be the underdog, essentially. Full on imperialism. And if we ain't going to do it ourselves, we're just going to do a proxy war and throw a bunch of money at somebody else to do it.
Well, hell, I mean, even the founding of the country was built upon spilled blood. Because
Right.
because the land that we're on was not originally ours. It belonged to the indigenous people
Right.
that literally thought that we were there just to simply explore the world. But we were act, but we actually, we, but I mean, we, some of us, I mean, some of our ancestors did. But however, after that, there was exploration done and knew that there was other life on that continent. Well, then some other empires sought interest in it, but wanted to take it over instead. So yeah, and now we have indigenous people that literally hate our government with the burning passion, and not to mention their land that they do have legal reservation rights to still gets violated anyways because the government thinks they freaking can. They're just measly little indigenous people. What are they going to do? That's
Right.
the reason why they do it, because they think they can.
Right. And just so we can kind of bring this back over to the Hunter Biden thing, because it really is somewhat related as far as like the political system and how we're constantly distracted by these things. the whole point of this, because I hear very often when somebody criticizes the United States, they're like, well, go on off to another country then, or something like that. It's like, no,
Yeah, that's stupid bullcrap.
that's just an idiotic thing to say, because you
It
wouldn't go
is.
over, and because, the alternator goes out in your car, you're not going to abandon your car on the side of the road and continue making the payments. If the toilet breaks in the house, you aren't just going to pack everything up and leave. No, we're just recognizing that there are these historical problems that the United States has taken very much a part in. Like, they are, in many cases, the core issue with all of these atrocities that have happened in the past couple hundred years around the world. Do we claim all of them? Certainly not. But we're just recognizing it where recognition is due. And for, us to continue doing that in the hope that we can improve and not regress. Because right now, what I see is a massive regression of this American empire. I already
It is.
disagreed with many things that have happened in the past, and we could go ad nauseum for probably 6 hours on that, but that's not for today. But the point being is like, just because we're pointing out these issues, it's not like we, like, quite frankly hate America or anything like that. It's, we live here, and we are going to point out things that are wrong about the place that we live. Period. Our
Yeah,
tax
and not
dollars
to
are
mention.
literally going towards these things. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, and wouldn't it be an act of patriotism to want to actually point out the stuff, the wrongdoing that is happening, that's literally causing harm to our very fabric of society as
Right.
a nation, because we want our future generations to not have to suffer and witness what we had to suffer and witness. I thought that was the goal of America, as as a general concept, is to the American dream. It was to progress and to build upon and learn from the mistakes of our past, so that way future generations does not have to live to repeat and witness the mistakes that we made. I thought that was the general idea, but as I grew up and got older, I'm seeing less and less in that. It's more finger pointing and opinions and beliefs and political dogma than there is of just pointing out the facts and then holding those accountable who need to be held accountable, and then fixing the problem. But I don't see that now anymore. I don't.
Well, and it's because many of those things are baked into the system. It's a case where they don't want to fix it. They really are up there as representatives, just trying to allow just enough to be peeled back as far as freedoms and progress, etc., so that it, sure, we're going to keep getting things, because they know that if it breaks out into total anarchy, it's going to be worse off for everybody, and they're going to lose their empire anyway, right? So it's just a constant case where, yes, they are there doing something. It's not like it's literally they're given lines and they're reading off lines. I'm sure that happens, but the point is that they're there just trying to keep both the people who have the actual power happy, which are like I said, the ultra wealthy, the people who own the factories, own the means of these, producing sites, giving a product, that churn out a product. They're the ones that are in power, and they are really the ones that are in control of these people that we're looking at here, these representatives. And ultimately, the only thing that they're there to do in almost every case is just peel back as little as possible to give to the masses, to keep them satiated, keep them from rising up, so that they can still take as much as they possibly can from them, whether it be through taxes that are misappropriated and given to people across the sea to blow up babies, or whatever the case may be. They're giving a fair amount of that money straight back to, the wealthy through like tax breaks, etc. They get all kinds of tax breaks. And I'm just saying, it's all a part of the design. The reason that there are poor people, even that there is a thing that exists called poor people, is because it's a part of the design of the system. They want there to be poor people. They talk all the time about an unemployment rate. That actually, they don't really care about the unemployment rate when it's not in their favor, right? So if there's a low unemployment rate, let's say this like 2%. Right now it's like 4.5%, 5%, something like, or excuse me, 3.9%. So it's pretty low. They have a disadvantage in that because they can't pull as many people from, the outside sphere. There's not going to be as many people out of a job who need to get work. So therefore they got to pay all of their people more for staying on and continuing to go. And it just goes round and round and round where you destroy that market. They don't want that. And in fact, there was a recent multi-millionaire from Australia, like I think he is in landlording or whatever, talking about how we need to have a higher unemployment rate, start firing people, and bring, the market back into the favor of the people who've got, the real money. It's all a part of the system. We're just seeing another distraction that's being fed to us to keep us from focusing on getting what we should actually be getting, which is good representation and a good use of our tax dollars and money, etc.
Yep.
Ms. Green from Georgia for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Here we go.
Excuse me, Hunter. Apparently you're afraid of my words.
Whoa. Oh.
I'd like to
Oh,
reclaim
get
my
that guy
time,
with the-
Mr. Chairman.
Wow, that's too bad.
I think it's clear and obvious for everyone watching this hearing today that Hunter Biden is terrified of strong conservative Republican women
Oh,
because
my
he can't even
gosh.
face my words as I was about to
Yeah,
speak to him.
yeah, he's totally afraid
what
of
a
you.
coward. And this is also a coward that
What a
sat right
coward.
here in front of me.
He left because nobody said that they wanted to hear him speak.
Yeah, so why should he be here?
Right.
You're literally wasting
You're
his
wasting
fucking
his
time.
fucking time. So it's nothing to do it with anything with, he's
Jesus
scared to
Christ,
listen to her
Marjorie.
specifically. She's just using that opportunity. She's so in her own brain as like the main character syndrome. Oh, he's just leaving because he doesn't want to hear me speak. It's like, no, because you're wasting his fucking time. Nobody said that they wanted to hear him speak. So shut the fuck up. You have no idea what you're talking about.
Mickey Babbitt, Ashley Babbitt's mother, who was murdered on January 6th by Michael Burr.
Hey, when you go charge a door where they're telling you to not enter, this is like this is the major cop thing, right? This is the cop thing where they do this to black people all the time. Well, you should have complied. You should have complied, right? Well, guess what? Ashley Babbitt should have complied. That's why she got shot. I haven't ever commented on this, but this is like these fucking clowns that keep talking about this Ashley Babbitt thing is like, dude, she didn't comply, bro. Why didn't she comply? She should have complied. There's your answer.
Yeah. Yeah, like what Miss Coppertone said back there. You play stupid games, you get stupid prizes.
Right.
I thought that's how that worked.
Maybe you shouldn't have been charging somebody unarmed who was literally trying to protect people. Like they were trying to protect the lives of the people that were in that chamber. They didn't know how many people were there. From what Alex Jones said, it's like over 1 million people. DC.
Yeah, and they had freaking military equipment on, and they had a freaking gala waiting for fucking Mike Pence. Are you kidding me?
It's just crazy, man.
The Capitol police officer, and you want to talk about a committee, a political sham? I'll totally disagree with you, Ms. Mace. That January 6th committee was not bipartisan. It was a complete setup to go after President Trump, go after Republicans, go after anyone that believes in free and fair elections, people that believe the Department of Justice should be fair and balanced, not a political weaponized department of the federal government that is targeting President Trump, his supporters, people that walked in the Capitol on January 6th, and now people that stood outside the Capitol. There's been no justice for Ashley Babbitt's family. Michael Byrd has never been charged with anything. He was let off, and he was given a promotion and allowed to walk free. And Hunter Biden just walked out. That is an example of not following the law. Hunter Biden thinks he's above the law.
They just and they keep saying the same thing.
Do you not remember what what you guys literally just talked about like 5
Right.
fucking minutes ago?
It's
He
like-
had the option,
Right.
and he accepted. And then the guy asked, "Hey, do you want to hear Biden's testimony?" None of you wanted to. So yes, he says, "Fuck all of you. You guys are a bunch of dumbasses that literally can't even decipher from fact from fiction. I'm out of here."
And the thing
Like,
too
seriously.
is just that you can tell if you watch C-SPAN every once in a while that for her, she heard what that guy said just not even 10 minutes in the video ago, and talking about like, hey, let's have a motion to have him talk. So in context, it's weird for her right directly after that to then start saying, hey, you went over and left or whatever. They're just trying to put this for a clip, right? The only thing that they need to do is keep making these statements in like these 5 minutes or less segments so that the media can then take that out of context clip and show it to people as though they're not going to look at the 3 hours, which we're not going to watch this whole 3 hours here, but they don't want to look at the whole 3 hours, which is fair.
Oh yeah, and
you know?
by the way, I want to go and for the record, what she was saying about the January 6th committee being non-bipartisan, it was non-bipartisan. I watched almost all instances of the cases. I watched almost all of them.
Yeah.
There were Republicans that were on the January 6th committee. That is a bunch of bullshit right there. That is like straight up just misinformation right there.
Right. And
Yeah,
they did it
They're definitely, yes, they were. Yes, there were Republicans. Yeah, most of them. There was a lot of Democrats there. She is not wrong about that. But however, that was non-bipartisan. There were definitely people who were Republicans that were at the January 6th committee, and not to mention some of the Trumpers that were at the January 6th insurrection that were like directly involved in it were there as defendants, and they straight up said, yeah, no, there was a lot of bullshit that was put on the internet from QAnon and from the Oath Keepers.
right.
So that is hilarious, and people wonder why that Marjorie Taylor Greene is looked at like as like pretty much a sociopathic person, because
Right.
she says she literally will do and say one thing, but then also will say another thing and do another thing too, just like what she did there. Again, they were offered, hey, let's put it to vote. Does anybody want to hear Hunter Biden's testimony? Does anybody want to ask him any questions while he's here? Nobody said anything. She didn't want it. Nobody else wanted it. So yeah, and then he walks out because he knows, yeah, they clearly don't even give it. They don't give. It's not apparently too important to hear my side on this. So why the hell should I be here? So yeah, I would have walked out too if I was Hunter Biden. Like,
Right.
okay, so you're gonna talk shit about me and call me a coward and say that I'm this and that and this and that, but yet when it was put to a vote that you wanted to hear my side and have me questioned on the stand, but you all declined. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and listen to this bull crap. So yeah, you can call me a coward if you want. Fine. That's
Right.
stupid. Actually, I've been in Hunter's situation, in similar situations where, yeah, I had every opportunity for people to hear my side of the story, but you didn't want to. You just want to sit there and bash and bash and bash and say things that literally have no factual support. And then when you walk out, then when I walked out, then you say like, "Well, you walk out," I'm like, because you don't want to freaking hear
Right.
what I wanted to say. So
Exactly.
it's stupid.
Exactly.
Like, dude, you're making your party as well yourself look like a bunch of freaking hypocritical ass clowns. Come on.
Don Jr., Eric Trump, Ivanka, Trump family members had to come in
And they just
to
keep
Democrat
repeating this
subpoenas
over and over again.
and be questioned
Yeah, and it's regurgitated
by
bullshit.
Democrats
Yeah, they
for over 8
regurgitate.
hours, each of them. Hunter Biden runs away. Hunter Biden did not come when we subpoenaed him. He did not follow.
He was just there, you dumb bitch. He could have just said, yes, let's listen to his...
the
Oh,
law.
man.
And then one of our colleagues helped him evade his subpoena by going and reserving a press conference for him on his behalf, helped him evade the subpoena, helped Hunter Biden break the law. Let's talk about his own father's words. President Joe Biden said in October 2021 that individuals who defy subpoenas from the January 6th House Select Committee should be prosecuted. And the Justice Department indicted Steve Bannon for doing so in November 2021. Hunter Biden's father, the President of the United States, said that he should be prosecuted. Anyone that defies a subpoena should be prosecuted. Hunter Biden didn't show up for his subpoena. Hunter Biden showed up today to make a clown show of himself.
No, you done made a clown of yourself. Just completely going for the soundbite. Didn't vote to listen to what he had to say. So I'm sorry, dude. Like, you guys are just freaking clowns.
To show
Have
that he
zero-
is nothing but someone that will not obey the law, that wants to show up when he wants to, and sits here with a smug look on his face and runs away when it's my turn to talk. Not only is he a criminal, but he is a coward. Nothing but a coward. Let's talk about voting for things. We have members on this committee that are on record on their own Twitter accounts talking about people blowing off subpoenas on the January 6th committee that states the rule of law is stirring all over America. That's Representative Jamie Raskin right here. I'll enter this for the record. Representative Jamie Raskin.
Or hers had pictures, so just saying.
Steve Bannon has been convicted of acting in contempt of Congress. My argument with Rep. Gates is now settled. If subpoenaed, you show up and assert any privilege you think applies to specific questions, but you can't blow off the proceeding. He blew it off. Walking in today is too late. We have to hold Hunter Biden in contempt of Congress because he's not above the law, and neither is the President of the United States. And this committee has
it's too
produced
late.
more evidence that any Democrat ever dreamed of having against President Trump and his family, while they constantly make up lies and attacks about the Trump family and President Trump. They make them up all day long. It's nothing but a political witch hunt. This committee has produced the evidence that Joe Biden has taken payments through his son, Hunter Biden, and all their dozens of fake LLCs. You can't buy a Biden product. You can't hire a Biden for a service unless you're a foreign country and you're asking and paying for political favors and political payouts. And that is exactly what the Biden brand is all about. We will hold Hunter Biden in contempt.
Where's the evidence?
And if the Democrats are not the hypocrites that they constantly display that they are, then they will vote for contempt of Congress because they voted for it on every other subpoena that didn't go through.
Marjorie,
And
can I
here's the
ask a
last
question? Marjorie, can I ask a question? Can you explain to me why Trump ran a fake campaign that literally was not existent just for people to give him money?
Right.
What about that? What about that? It was shortly after the insurrection happened. He ran a campaign that, number one, was not existent. There was evidence shown that there was no campaign that existed that was supposed to, I think it was supposed to help him with, I can't remember what it was. Like, it was so stupid that I couldn't even remember. It was so nonsense. And he ran a campaign that required funding from his own supporters. And then come to find out later, this campaign never existed. It didn't even exist. He literally scammed his own fucking supporters. Are you gonna? What about that? You're saying that, oh, the Biden family's corrupt by doing this. What about what Trump did? Are you not gonna bring that up? Or the fact that he literally tried to sell fucking NFTs?
Right.
Are you kidding me? Are you serious right now?
Which
like,
is
are we
total
not
scam too?
Seriously? Really? Oh my God.
Did they take
She wonders why nobody, and she wonders why nobody takes her serious as a politician. It's like she just completely, blatantly ignores the shit that Trump has done. He's done literally the same thing that they are accusing Biden of. And again, yeah, so what if Hunter did these shitty things? He's not in political power. Joe is. If you're so worried about what Joe is doing, then go after Joe, not his son.
The minority has not provided a copy of the material. For the record, in the past, she's displayed pornography. Is pornography allowed to be, are pornographic photos allowed to be displayed in this committee room, Mr. Chairman?
It's not pornography.
Okay, well, you're the expert.
Oh, you're the expert.
God, Bunch,
Got her, dude.
you're the expert.
I'm not an expert, Mr. Raskin.
Seems like it.
It seems like it. Oh, yes. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I object to the
This is,
unanimous
Mr. Chairman,
this is
I-
Karen Jackson.
I have never. Like,
I've never looked up a guy's song.
All you need
I
is one
object.
objection.
We need decorum. I'm gonna let the lady state, and then if you object still, we'll go from there.
Mr. Chairman.
this
Okay, that's the
camera
clip.
guy.
Of course, it
is
wasn't
literally laughing at
actually
it right
photos of Hunter Biden's gigantic fat. I'm sorry, it
And
was.
it's marked
Mr.
out.
Chairman,
These
point of
are
parliamentary-
It
marked
was.
out,
Yep.
showing
It was.
proof of
Yep. The American people demand to know: is this censor bar as large as it needs to be? Not a joke. Yep. It's real.
proof of
That's what she
Mann
brought
Act
up. Yep.
violations. Democrats should not be
Okay.
offended by
Got-
pictures
Got
that
him.
black out.
If I can
The
recognize-
Hunter Biden says he has nothing to hide, yet clearly he's hiding something quite girthy from the people in this
Oh, my God.
room.
They should be
Objection. I have
offended
a
by
point of
actual
parliamentary
human
inquiry.
trafficking.
Mr.
All right,
Chairman,
but state your point.
thank you kindly,
Marjorie,
Mr. Chairman. On
you
July
feel
26th, I
insecure
sent you a letter about the
Oh, man. That's what I'm talking about, dude. Just like, this is what American politics is now. We're showing dick pics on the floor, man. Like, oh. Anyway. Any final comments on that before we move on?
Yeah, I saw that before. I was just like laughing my ass off, and I was like so confused. I was like, why is she showing that in Congress? Why is she showing this?
Right? Just leave it up
Like,
to the
what-
imagination, dude. Like,
Like, why? What are you trying to like? What are you trying to accomplish here by showing Hunter's freaking nudes? Like, okay, wow. Like, I'm sure Trump don't got nudes because he thinks he's
Right.
got big hands because he's got a freaking 20-inch dragon slayer down there.
Right.
Okay, all right.
just ridiculous, man.